Is Taylor Jenkins a good candidate to be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns on paper? We are at a point where a team that was the 4th seed in the Western Conference fired their head coach today.
Yep.
The Phoenix Suns, of course, still technically employ Mike Budenholzer. But, Gerald, as you've reported, if the Suns miss the play-in, which they right now are on track to do,
yes,
everything's on the table, including moving on from Mike Budenholzer. So instead of discussing if they should move on from Mike Budenholzer, let's live in a world where they do. Hypothetically, is Taylor Jenkins a good candidate to be the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns on paper?
On paper, sure. I could see it. I don't think that if you fire Mike Budenholzer, going to another coach on the Mike Budenholzer tree is something that you're going to pitch to Booker and or KD if you are planning to trade Beal and build around Book and KD, which should be the plan. I was very confused by this, and I think a lot of people on the outside of Memphis were confused by this. And then I kind of asked people to explain to me why this happened, and a lot of Memphis people were telling me he had lost the locker room. There were questions about his rotations. It felt like unless the team was seriously shorthanded and he was able to turn a lot of the role-playing guys into good, legitimate rotation pieces, that the team was underperforming. I think injuries obviously played a big part in that, but the Grizzlies kind of felt like they had hit their ceiling. I am very surprised they chose to pull the trigger on this, 7 or 9 games before the playoffs, whatever it is for them.
As a home court team.
As a home court advantage
now they're 5th,
team.
sorry.
That's kind of surprising to me, but to be honest with you, I don't know if bringing in another guy who's in that same kind of coaching tree as Bud, even though they're very different coaches, and they have different philosophies, different principles, different ways of coaching, I don't know if that's something that the Suns would consider. And this is just me speculating. This is not me reporting or anything like that. I truthfully think if you are keeping Book and KD, it's going to be a player's coach type of guy, a former player. It's going to be someone that Book and KD probably have a more active say in who it's going to be. And I don't know that Taylor Jenkins is someone that they would look to and be like, that's the guy that we want. I truthfully think if they do fire Bud, Chauncey Billups is the guy that I still think is going to wind up being the Suns head coach. I think there was buzz that both KD and Book were interested in Chauncey last year. Obviously, he has the team option in Portland, but it feels like that's going to be a parting of the ways at this point. And if he becomes available, I would not be surprised at all if Chauncey is the next coach of the Suns.
I can definitely see a world in where the Portland Trailblazers are very entertained by the thought of Taylor Jenkins coaching their roster. Because he has a long history of being successful with the development of young players.
Yeah.
Obviously having an offensive system that's very modern and conducive to being sustainable. Naturally, I think the Portland Trailblazers have a ton of pieces that fit that particular style of play that he would want to play to as well. And I think there's just a lot of sense there. So if there's a world where Chauncey ends up here and Taylor ends up there, I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like there has to be more to this story with Taylor Jenkins as well as his coaching staff being released of their duties at this particular juncture of the season. Why not wait until a potential first-round exit or at most a second-round exit?
Yeah.
Why not wait till then?
I don't know.
And
I mean,
think
it's stupid.
It doesn't quite make the most sense, but that's why I'm hesitant to speak too much on it because there has to be more to it that we're just not privy to quite yet because we're not in the Memphis circle of media members right now.
Sure.
There's that part. But I also think that his time was up. His time was up, and that in tandem with the front office feeling like they just did not believe in what they were seeing this season. I think there's just kind of a perfect storm of things leading up to this point. Obviously, something else tipped it over to where they had the meeting earlier today per Shams, and they let him know that he was released of his duties. Waiting to see what's going to happen next as far as news regarding that, though.